Hello, today I am here with Brett. He works with me at the National Park Service and he has gladly accepted to do an interview with me for my class and about his career. So, Brett, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and how you got started, your education, and what brought you here?
The Joshua Tree?
Park Service and Joshua Tree.
Park
Yeah.
and Joshua Tree? Well, I went to school at the University of Wisconsin Milwaukee, and I got my undergrad degree in conservation and environmental science. In my junior year of college that summer, I applied and got an internship working for the Natural History Association at Grand Teton National Park, and fell in love with the Park Service, its mission, the people that work there, and just being out west in general was really appealing to me. So I went back to school for my senior year. Then I applied for a bunch of seasonal jobs with the Park Service, got on with Mount Rainier National Park, moved out west, and started a 2 year kind of seasonal cycle working at Mount Rainier National Park in the summer months, and then coming down here to Joshua Tree National Park in the winter months. And then I went to grad school at the Western Washington University, got a Master's of Education in Environmental Education, volunteered with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service in Alaska after that, worked for the BLM on the Oregon coast, and then made my way back down here to Joshua Tree where I work seasonally, and then now got on as a term employee. So I work on a 1 year contract basis up to 4 years.
Great,
Mm-hmm.
thank you. What would you say motivates you to work for the national parks?
What motivates me to work for the national parks is I want anybody to be able to experience our nation's beautiful public lands. These lands belong to all of us, and there's so many values and experiences that people can gain from getting out in nature or out to a lot of our historical parks here in the country. It's our country's legacy. So I think that being able to preserve these lands for people to enjoy and future generations to enjoy too. Like I'm having a kid here coming up, and I'm really excited to share the national parks with him.
Yeah, that was a huge thing for me too,
Mm-hmm.
to be able to share that with our our children and to have that kind of lifestyle as well.
Yeah,
To be
absolutely.
close to that park. So I appreciate what you're saying on that level. So that kind of segues in this other part, which gives you what gives you hope then about what you do. I know that's kind of similar question, but
Mm-hmm.
um, how does the Park Service give you hope in society?
Um, the Park Service mission is to preserve the natural lands and to allow people to enjoy them for for generations. So seeing the younger generation of kids coming into the park, the Every Kid in the Park program, which allows all fourth graders to get a free 12-month pass to the national parks so they can enjoy it with their family, and having them come out into the park and getting the kids involved, I think is what is going to drive the mission of the Park Service going forward. So what gives me hope is seeing a lot of kids in the park doing program with kids, and connecting them to the natural environment.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that gives me hope too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty inspiring to work with little kids and see how fascinated they are by the parks and that
Mm-hmm.
we can be that for them.
Yeah, exactly. And then a lot of the kids that come to Joshua Tree might not have experienced a landscape like we have out here, like the desert. So getting a lot of kids from the LA Basin out here to enjoy the park, coming, having them come out to see our night skies. Those are just a lot of new experiences for kids. So I think that's great for them.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you. One other thing I would ask you about, what's the favorite part of your job?
Um, I would say my favorite part of my job is when I get to interact with the public when I'm out on a trail, either roving or giving programs, and having longer conversations than I can have, say, inside at the visitor center providing orientation. Um, Getting to learn about why people came out to the park, have them share their experiences with me, and just realizing that, with our jobs, we get to work in people's vacations. So it's really great to have people that are out here excited to be here, interacting with them out in nature and helping to teach them about the park.
Yeah.
That's my favorite thing, making
And the
those
natural
connections and
habitat,
providing
yeah.
those connections for them, yeah.
Nice. What is your least favorite thing about your job? Now that our boss is here in the background.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave. So
Yeah.
you can answer honestly. Honestly, that's not why I'm leaving, but
Well, we can come back
I
to
have
that
to
one
go
in a
brush my teeth
second.
before the meeting.
No,
so.
it
Okay.
doesn't matter. I would say, the least favorite part about my job is trying to constantly remind myself that when visitors, say if I'm working at the desk, are coming in, this might be the first national park they've gone to or their first time to Joshua Tree, and having to answer a lot of the same questions over again, but again reminding myself that this is perhaps their first time coming to the park. This is a new experiencing for them. So the repetitive nature of my job at times can be wearing, but that's why I love getting outside and having different conversations and longer conversations with people too, because that kind of rejuvenates me.
Yeah, and I think this training this week too that we're on helps with the rejuvenation as well.
Yeah,
Because it
absolutely.
does I hear what you're saying, that can be monotonous at times, to do over and over to answer the same questions.
Yeah.
But when you do get out there and make real connections, like you're saying, then you feel a little bit more rejuvenated.
Exactly. Yeah, and I wish that and I hope in the future too that I will be able to take on more responsibilities and be able to grow professionally as well. So that's always been kind of a struggle for me, is having room to grow in my position.
So then where do you see yourself in 5 years and 10 years?
In 5 years, well, I hope I'm still working for the Park Service in 5 years. I don't know. Again, with starting a family, it's going to be a balance for sure. But I hope that I can continue working for a public agency, whether it be the Park Service or Forest Service or U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. But definitely I want to continue to be in the education field. I love teaching. I love interacting with people. And so I hope that that's where I am at in 5 years, 10 years. Hopefully one day I'm supervising people and moving up.
Maybe teaching them some of the skills that you're already acquired.
Mm-hmm.
Not required. Required of and acquiring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think I must just give you a little feedback. I feel like it's really refreshing to hear you talk about your family like your baby's already here.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times they hear with going to be parents, especially with men, that's not even part of their life yet. And I think it's cool that you're already thinking and incorporating that into your future. So I have to give you props on that, Fred.
Yeah.
That's a little side note there. So what do you hope to share with your family when your next generation comes? Like, what part of the park do you want to share with them?
This park?
This
Joshua
park.
Tree? What do I want to share with them? It's funny. We were out at Caprock this afternoon for our training, and I walked the trail by myself, and I was imagining taking my kid on that trail, thinking, I wonder if this is the first trail I'm going to take him on. It's a short, 0.4 of a mile trail. But yeah, I've already thought about taking him, camping, and how long I have to wait until I can do that. But
That's cool.
Yeah. So, anything and everything, I can't wait to put a climbing harness on him in a couple years and, take him on longer hikes. But yeah, I'm excited for everything.
Yeah, that's how I was too. I was very excited for all of that. And then each, time you grow a little bit more and you can have your first camping trip and all those things, you really appreciate the small walks and all of that. So I definitely relate. see. Anything that you want to add about your past career, your potential future career, that you want to just kind of openly discuss?
Yeah,
I don't have a lot more for questions.
I mean, I think my situation, I don't think it's a unique situation because I know you're in the same boat too, but my wife and I, we met as seasonal interpretive park rangers, and working for the Park Service, it's hard to get permanent positions, let alone positions in the same field. And my wife Tara and I, we were both interpretive park rangers to start. And so we struggled for a while to find any kind of long-term employment. And so I think a lot of people fall back on it, maybe going back to school, hoping that it would provide advancement for them. And,
right.
We made the decision, whoever got the permanent job first, we'd move for that. And so that's what brought us back down here. She has the anchor job, and I'm just excited that I can still be back here working at Joshua Tree. So we get paid in sunrises and sunsets. That's something that I learned young too. So you do it, you do this job because you love to do it, not necessarily for the money, which is a motto that we try to live by. We don't make decisions based on money. We base it on happiness. So,
can you talk a little bit more about that? Because I was talking to someone else about you recently, and they were kind of talking about you and your wife's philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, we had opportunities where we could have moved, and it would have provided a little bit more financial stability for us. But the location that we would have to move to was not a place we wanted to go. So we would maybe be unemployed for 3 or 4 months, and in between our seasonal jobs, we would take that opportunity to not necessarily stress about finding a permanent job and settling down, but to travel. So we volunteered for 4 months in Greece, WWOOFing, which stands for Willing Workers on Organic Farms, and we worked on a farm helping to harvest olives for a family that provided olive oil. We volunteered in between seasons, went down to Peru and helped volunteer in an orphanage for like 3 or 4 months, and then traveled around. So we do things that make us happy. Money is a small part of it, but of course everyone needs money to live. And we realize that nothing's more important than our happiness. So as long as we're happy and we're together, that's really all that matters. And money can't buy happiness. So
yeah, really like that.
For us, it's really important to be in a place that we know that we can connect to the land with and be happy in. There's a good community there, because ultimately we lived in one place. We lived in Fort Collins, Colorado, which we thought we'd like, and we moved there because Tara, she was going to go for a PhD, but as soon as we got there, we didn't connect with the place. It would have been a good opportunity for her, but we weren't happy, so we moved, and we're unemployed until we found other employment. But it's taken 8-9 years, but we're at a place now where we can start a family. We bought our first house, we bought our first new car, which is all kind of cool. So, and I don't ever want to have to look back on my life and say, I wish I would have done this. I wish I didn't settle, that I took the chance and I did something that was a once in a lifetime opportunity. So after graduate school, we volunteered for, the summer. I went up to Alaska and didn't get paid at all, but I mean, it was one of the best experiences we've both ever had.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people just focus on the stress and the money part of getting a permanent or even seasonal job with the government. And that can become all-consuming, and you kind of get lost in the rabbit race to do that. So it's refreshing to hear you. I don't think I've actually ever talked to anyone in the Park Service that has that kind of philosophy. So I really find it very refreshing. Well, one thing back on that, did you kind of co-create that together, or were one of you more, I guess, more like that than the other? You and your wife? Or is that something you kind of converged upon together?
I think, when we met each other, we both realized that we were a good fit for one another, and at the end of our season, I was more focused on, I would say, probably trying to find that next job and kind of worrying about that. But Tara was like, let's go to Peru and volunteer and not worry about it. And after I think we had that first shared experience together, we were like, this was such a great thing. I'm so happy we did this. And I think from that point on, I mean, really early, we both kind of fell into that mindset that let's do things together, let's have shared experiences together, as opposed to, worrying about, what we're going to do next for employment. Although we always, had
to come back to that.
Had to come back to that,
Yeah.
that question, but it wasn't necessarily our main concern. So yeah, I think we were both kind of on that same page, but we definitely kind of morphed into this one super person that
Yeah. You guys are like a power couple.
yeah,
Super awesome.
I guess.
No, you are. I definitely I appreciate what you guys are doing, and it's awesome you're bringing a baby into the world to share that with
Yeah.
now. And I know we got a little off topic on the career, but career is part of family, and it's all encompassing. So Brett, I want to thank you for sitting down with me today.
Yes.
And now I know we have to get back to our training,
Uh-huh.
so we're gonna sign off. But thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, it was fun. Good job. It was great.